Hey everybody, it's Andre Shirdan, and I'm here with another friend. And I love doing this because I get to see some of my friends who I don't get to see often. But I'm here with Bria Clark, and Bria brings more than 15 years of dental experience as a practice manager, but also as an expanded function dental assistant, which is an unbelievable combination of the two. And she does a lot to implement the best in dental practices. And Bria is the founder of Pivotal Solutions. And I got to meet her about 5 years ago as we took a cruise together, a team building cruise, a crew building cruise, as I call them, to the islands. And
Did a cruise.
we did a cruise, yeah, when we were the crew. And we got to spend time together on March 13th, 2020. And it was the last presentation, the last public event that I did before COVID hit. So we got to spend the last day before civilization ended.
Yes,
So
we
we,
barely made it.
I know. So thank you for being here. Thank you for spending some time with me.
Absolutely. I would not miss it.
Yeah, and it's funny because Zoom has been a fantastic thing. I mean, I could probably, if I was good at it, I could probably throw a rock the 45 minutes away from me to hit you.
I
You're not
know,
that far
right?
away from it. Yeah. So I'm glad you got a chance to spend time with me because this has been a lot of fun talking about the my friends and the forks in the road that they've taken. So are you ready for the 6 questions I gave you?
I'll give it a go. Let's do it.
All right. So here's question number one. So compare yourself to the person you are now and go back to a fork that you took on the road to land you at the place you are now.
I kind of feel like that was forever ago, but I know it really wasn't. It was probably about 12 years ago where the real turning point in my career was. I was actually in a surgical practice and assisting in surgeries all day, every day, 6, 7 years, really knew the ins and outs of everything. And then I had my son 12 years ago, and I was on maternity leave, and I guess my hormones were all crazy because I had some crazy ideas that I should just, start somewhere new and venture out and try to do better for myself. So, like every mother says, do better for their child. I was really held down at the practice I was at because of the friendships and whatnot that I had made with my coworkers. It was not the best environment, and the surgeons didn't treat us the best. Really, they weren't the kindest. So I always joke that if you have thick skin if you worked in oral surgery. But I've met some fantastic surgeons since then. But try to condense a long story. We actually lost one of my coworkers in that practice in a very tragic
Mm.
way, and it did bring us together closer. So that kind of held me down there. I was very much emotionally and mentally attached there. I wanted more, I wanted better, but I kind of was lying to myself that being there allowed me to stay connected to the piece of that person that I had, and leaving that, I would lose that. So it took me a couple years to realize, that's not true and I can push and do better. So again, when I was on maternity leave, I literally sat with my baby and the boppy with a bottle, and I was back then we were flipping through the phone book, calling places to see if they were, having any positions open. And I found a practice that was an hour away from my home at the time. I went for an interview. They asked me to stay for a skills assessment, and I did that. And they hired me pretty much on the spot. But I remember sitting on the parking lot calling my mom, and I'm like, what am I doing? Okay, like I have a job that I know the ins and out of, like the back of my hand. I could do it blind. And here I am in a new practice, an hour away with a newborn at home. But I prayed about it. I thought about it. I had friends and family give me their input and really just try to ground me and jump and go, So I did. I made the jump, and that was 12 years ago. And I have been through it. I can tell you for the first year, I think I cried every day. I was like, what did I do? Why did I do this? What am I doing to myself? Am I crazy? Because I was commuting, I was learning general dentistry as well as running the surgery department. And then a few months into it, they're like, hey, we like you. You're awesome. Work in our other practice too. So then I was like, okay, I can do this. I've learned. I know what I'm doing. And then I go to that other practice, and they have everything organized different. They use different materials. They have different processes. And then I felt like an idiot all over again. So I had quite the roller coaster for the first couple of years of that transition. But I would say that was definitely my fork in the road,
Yeah.
personally and professionally, because I made that jump. I made that transition. I toughed it out. I pushed through, and I definitely had the personality that I want to be the best. I want to do my best. So I didn't go at it just with a little bit of my energy. I went full speed into it. And within 2 to 3 years, I really knew so much about general dentistry, and then had the opportunity to really advance skills and learn about technologies and other things. So I've definitely progressed, as you could see with my experiences professionally.
Mhm.
I've definitely now can look back at that former self and see, wow, I did that. No wonder I can go to work and laugh and make light of everything and joke and have work be fun, while stress levels are immense currently with after the pandemic and surviving that. But I can laugh and have a good day and be quick on my feet and excel and bring excellence every day because of what I pushed through, what I went through. And to be able to look back and see that person and know the person I am now, it feels good. So
Yeah.
I've learned a lot. I've gained a lot of wisdom through it. And I feel that I have a lot of, basically, you could say, testimony through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and be where I am today. So,
Yeah. Well, there's a whole lot of comfort in being uncomfortable. You learn a lot from being
yes.
uncomfortable. Yeah. Well, that's great. And the beauty of all of this, in talking to all of my friends about these things, is a lot of what we do every day is meet those forks in the road and make a good choice when we make those. You made a good choice. It was a hard choice, but you made the right
Yeah.
choice.
It
Yeah.
wasn't easy, but I'm like, I'm here now and I'm going to do best I can. And I had a fantastic support system at home, with my newborn, and I wouldn't have been able to do the things that I did do, um, without my family at home supporting me. So I'm forever grateful for that.
Well, that's awesome. So let's go to question two. Question two might actually give us some insight into that. So tell us, what's your favorite book? What's a book that everyone should be reading, and maybe reading over and over again?
Well, I can admit that I'm not necessarily a bookworm where I'm going to curl up on the couch with a 300-page book and not be able to put it down. But what I do get caught up in doing in my time is, articles and podcasts and videos that are geared towards self improvement, uplifting and positivity, just learning basically to how continue to improve life personally, professionally, and financially. I do dedicate a lot of my time to do that. And I could sit and read for hours when it's pertaining to, being better and doing better, or how to impact others and things like that. So while I don't have a book title to throw at you, I highly recommend making time in your day to be able to work on yourself. Because I will say personally, when having a baby and starting a new job, I lost myself. I wasn't me anymore. I was mom. And that was another big fork in the road where I had to learn me again and be me. So I learned that when people would say, well, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? And I'm like, cut peanut butter sandwiches into dinosaurs. I don't know. I don't have a hobby anymore. I lost myself. So self-improvement and growth, put your nose to pages about that. And one thing I like to recommend too is a daily devotion. Even if you can't do it every day, that encouragement, that positive uplifting, it's good for the soul, and it helps
Okay.
keep you grounded, and it helps you have that appreciation and gratitude even on the worst of days. And of course, we're not all going to always be able to do that every day. I'll admit I can't do that every day, but one of the times that I'm able to sit and actually open that devotion book, you would be amazed of how many times it's actually spot on and strikes chord with what you're actually going through. So,
Yeah.
um, have that support, keep it right on your nightstand, read a little positive article or something before you go to bed.
I
That's
agree
like,
with you. That's me. That's a good one.
yeah.
So here's question number three. And you probably get this a lot. Give me one or two of your favorite quotes that you live by.
Well, I would say what I live by are more mottos
Yeah.
than quotes. I love when people say, don't take life too seriously. And while it's super easy to laser focus in on something and overthink it. I'm guilty of that, and I'm a recovering perfectionist. But don't take life too seriously. I think I definitely live by that, because I always joke, like, I'm never serious. Don't take me seriously. I'm always joking, laughing, making light of a situation. I'm witty, quick on my feet, and just don't take life too seriously. But when it comes down to business and getting it done, like, that's where you see my laser focus, but we have fun doing it. Another one of my mottos that I questioned and brought to myself was in 2018 and 19, through another professional transition where, short staffing, I'm literally burning the candle at both ends. And it was, problem. And instead of kind of sinking down and having that self-pity party and woe is me and having people coming at me with their problems, my motto became, well, what are you going to do about it? Every time I question or complain, or there's this problem or that problem, I can easily snap to that question of, like, well, what are you going to do about it? And I ask my team members that, I ask myself that. And again, that's related to personally and professionally. I find that question popping in my head a lot of, what are you going to do about it?
That's awesome.
Those are my two mottos that I live by. And I want to share with everyone too. I've learned so much about perspective. What I do know is, and I've experienced it, and I believe it, two people can have the same experience and walk away with two different interpretations of what has happened. So I've tried to learn a lot about perspective and seeing it from each angle. Mm-hmm. And I was in shopping in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and I saw the cutest little sign. It was of a dandelion, but it was at the point where you were able to blow it and see it fly away. And it said, some people see a weed and some people see wishes. And I thought that was just the cutest thing, and really right on with perspective. So
that's
I
awesome.
like to think about that too sometimes.
I love it. I love it. So here's question number 4 for you is what high-tech thing, so it has to have a plug or a battery, high-tech thing can't you live without?
Oh, I always joke that I am like a little old lady already, where technology, my level of expertise comes to, if I push a button, it needs to do what it needs to do. Other than that, I kind of have a stopping point. But I will say, I would imagine a popular answer would, I have unfortunately become quite reliant on my cell phone, because to me it's like a computer. I have my calendar, my memos, my grocery list, my dinner plans of every night, what we're making, the kids calendar. I definitely live by that. But and then if we want to talk about professional, like, I've fallen in love with our CVCT machine. Like, that's changed our life. But personally, as well as a little bit professionally, my cell phone.
Yeah, I can understand that. All right, it doesn't ever get far from me.
Yeah, I have come a long way to where I will put it on do not disturb, or I've silenced it. I've, coming through the stress of the pandemic, 6 months ago, I think I turned off the notifications for my email to come to my phone. And that's been very helpful. So I do recommend that.
We should all do that.
Yeah, find some time, at least an hour a day, where that notification is off.
That's good. So on the flip side of that, so what's the low tech thing? So no plug, no battery that you can't live without.
Well, it's good old paper and pencil. I am a very organized person. I operate very well off of a to-do list. I like to get my thoughts on paper, and every day I'm writing that paper to-do list, because I do get that satisfaction of crossing it off. And I'm even one of those crazy people that I'm like, well, I just did that. Let me write it down so I can cross it off, and I will be able to reflect that on my list. But I make lists about everything, and my list have lists. And another little thing I live by is, if I don't write it down, it doesn't exist. So there's so much going on all the time. If I want to remember to do it, or be able to prioritize it, I write it down. And I have that. I don't know if that's like the assisting side of me, always having to be a step ahead, or run through the day in the most efficient way, or literally be clicking a timer for each task that you're doing. So I think it's become somewhat detrimental, because I'm even doing simple things like loading the dishwasher in a strategic way, like it's an autoclave or something. Like, I'm going to put this in the best possible way. So, but paper and pen for sure. I got to write it down, and I got to execute it and feel good at the end of the day that I did something.
Yeah, don't feel bad about the dishwasher. Everybody knows in my house. Don't even load the dishwasher because I'm going to unload it and reload it again. So
Yeah, exactly. And I know that's not just me. That's got to be a lot of people like yourself.
that's that's my thing. So
And it's a
okay, so
door.
hey, you know what people tell me all the time, and the worst part about my life is I have OCD, but I also have dyslexia, so I think it's in order.
Oh, see, there we go.
Yes, that's
Well, I
terrible.
wouldn't reload your dishwasher. I'd let
There,
you just, yeah.
we're good. We're good. We'll be good friends forever if that's the
Yeah.
case. So here's the next question. It kind of wraps the whole envelope together, which is, if you could go back to the fork in the road, that going to that interview, what would the advice be that you'd give to yourself from back
Mhm.
then?
That is a tough question. Um, I think I would reiterate, be more motivated to say, just do it, go for it. If you want better and you see it, just do it. I think sometimes we ask ourselves too many questions and try to have all the ducks in a row. And there are some things in life where the ducks are never going to be in a row. And I remember that's actually what someone told me when I wanted to become a mother. I was waiting, 4 or 5, 6 years. I'm like, oh, I want to save my money. I want to have the job. I want to have the house. And someone told me, it's like, if you're waiting to have money before you have children, you're never going to have children. So
Yeah.
things have a way of working themselves out, and you just got to take the risk and roll the dice and go for it, no matter what it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I am so glad that we got a chance to do this because it's, we haven't seen each other since COVID struck, but I think we've talked
2020.
online. I know. Yeah. And we got to get back on a boat at some point.
Yeah, I know.
Cruise someplace.
My last cruise was canceled. My son and I were going on a spring break cruise in 2020 April, and it was canceled, and I'm still upset about that. But
Yeah.
someday we'll see that clear water again.
Well, I've had to do 3 events. I do these destination trainings, and they were all scheduled on cruise ships or out of the country, and we've pushed a bunch of them to inside the States. So it's been a crazy couple of years. So, but thanks so much again for doing this, and I will see you soon. And I'm going to make sure everybody has all of your contact information down here under this. So thanks, and I will see you on the road.
All right, thank you, Andre.
Take care.
All right, bye.